Hi, it's Emily here from the blog and YouTube channel Pineapple Farmhouse, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a veg patch and my top tips for growing fruit and vegetables at home. If you're looking to simplify and slow down, then gardening is a great place to start. Not only can you become more self-sufficient, but you'll be spending more time in nature and you'll get to enjoy all those beautiful organic fruit and vegetables straight from your garden. When I first got into gardening, I just started with some indoor plants and a few fresh herbs growing in pots. This was great because we were renting homes at the time and moving around a lot. And it was always nice to have that greenery around me and to be able to go and pick some herbs for my cooking. When we did find our first home, the time had come that I could start my very own veggie patch. And it was obviously, first of all, a lot of hard work. And then once we got those plants in and they established themselves, we had so much produce coming, and it was just beautiful to take the kids into the garden where they could learn those skills, and they just love getting their hands dirty. And it was so nice to have lots of produce, not only for ourselves but to share with our neighbours and our family. Another thing I like to add to my veg patch is edible flowers and cut flowers. So cosmos and marigolds grow really well in a veg patch. They're great bee attractors as well, which is great for a veggie patch. And obviously you can cut them and bring them inside. They're just so pretty and they really add a little bit of farmhouse charm to your interiors. My garden is probably the thing I miss most about my old house that we did sell. So now that we're renting, I've had to start from scratch, and thankfully we did have a little veggie patch here, a little raised bed that I was able to plant just to keep me going until we find our new forever home. And I've been experimenting with compost and also some backyard chickens. So it just goes to show that gardening really is a journey, and it's about starting small and then learning new skills along the way. So in today's video I will focus on just how to make your first veg patch and my top tips. But obviously there's a massive world of gardening out there, and I'm sure this will just be the beginning of a really exciting journey for you. So the first thing you need to do when you're planning to make a veg patch is to choose a structure. Now, one of the things I love to do and recommend is a raised garden bed. You can make these with a number of different materials. Some of the flat pack kits you can buy online, I will link them below. They're really great for the beginner gardener because they are easy to assemble, they're not very costly, and they come in a really convenient size. You can also construct raised beds out of different types of timber, but you should choose something that's untreated so that the chemicals won't leach into your soil. If you don't want to do a raised bed, you can also just build up a little plot in your backyard by perhaps bringing in some additional topsoil or using potting mix. The second thing to think about is where you're going to put your raised bed. So you need to choose somewhere that has really good morning light and a little bit of shade and protection when the afternoon sun comes in. You can also be guided by the information on your seed packet or your seedlings, which will tell you what kind of sunlight your particular varieties would like. Another thing to keep in mind when you're choosing your location is proximity to water. So whether you're going to be hand watering or you need to run some irrigation, keep in mind that you will need to have a tap nearby. So now for the exciting part and planning your crop. What is it that you like to eat? What is it that you cook the most? Make sure you don't go crazy at the nursery and choose a million different varieties of exotic fruits and vegetables that look fun to grow but aren't actually things your family needs or wants. I have been guilty of this 1 or 2 times, and it's safe to say that now I stick to the same varieties which I know will grow well in my climate and that my family really loves to eat. When you're planning on what you'd like to grow in your veg patch, it's important to do some research on your climate zone. Your climate zone will dictate what varieties will do best and also what time of the year they will grow well for you. You can usually find this information on your seed packets or seedlings, but you can also head to the Gardening Australia website, which I'll link in the show notes below. Now it's time to head out and get your supplies. So you'll need your seeds or your seedlings, as well as some soil, so whether that's potting mix or topsoil that you're going to add to your garden. I highly recommend adding some compost into the mix and choosing organic varieties. Then you'll need some mulch, And I like to add some bamboo to my shopping list. Bamboo pillars can be used to provide support to your seedlings while they're growing. Now it's time to prepare your soil. Clear away any weeds or grass from your plot or veg patch, and then add your topsoil or potting mix. You then can add your compost and give that a really good mix around. The next step is to plant out your seedlings. If you are growing from seed, this is when you would sprinkle your seeds or plant them into the ground. Just follow the instructions on the back of the seed packet or the seedlings to know how far apart you need to plant. We've just replanted our garden for spring, and as you can see, we've planted some cherry tomatoes as well as some snow peas. Snow peas and other legumes are great companion plants for tomatoes because they help add nitrogen back into the soil. And tomatoes are very hungry for nitrogen. The other thing that we've added to our garden is nasturtiums. Nasturtiums are great not only as a salad ingredient, but also as a sacrificial plant. And I'll talk a little bit about pests a bit later in the video. Once all your seeds or seedlings are in, it's time to mulch. By adding mulch to the garden, you're able to keep the soil from losing moisture, and it also helps to keep some of the weeds out. I like to use sugarcane mulch because it's easy to use, it's available locally, and it's also available in an organic form. Once everything's in, give the garden a really good water. Now you will need to keep the water up to the plants, do that every day, and the best time to water is in the morning when the plants can use the water throughout the day. When you're out there watering your garden, you should keep an eye on your crop for pests, and it's best to get onto these as soon as possible. The two best ways to manage pests naturally include spraying with pyrethrum spray. So this is a natural based spray from the chrysanthemum family, and this does repel many insects. Just make sure you do follow the directions on the bottle and leave your crop for a number of days before consuming. Another thing you can do to keep pests away from your crop is to plant companion or host crops. These are specifically chosen to ensure that the pests eat those and not the crops that you want to harvest. You can also just spend a bit of time picking away any little bugs, caterpillars or grasshoppers as you see them. So if you keep the water up to your plants, in no time at all you'll be harvesting your first crop of delicious organic veggies from your very own garden. You should be prepared for there to be quite a lot of produce coming on at once. So do a little research and find some ways to preserve your crop. My favourite ways to preserve fruit and vegetables from my garden include freezing them and turning them into delicious pickles and ferments. You can also swap your fresh produce with gardeners around your area or even your neighbours. So there you have it. I hope these hints and tips have inspired you to create your very own veggie patch at home. And if you would like more information, please go down to the description box below where you'll find a link to my blog post. If you like this video and would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button. We make a new video and blog post each week. Thanks for following along.